The art of war thus proposes the idea of winning before fighting. The victorious army wins first and then seeks battle. The defeated army seeks battle first and then seeks victory. This means that the victorious side has already secured victory before the battle begins, while the defeated side seeks victory only after starting the battle. So, how can we win before fighting? This can be achieved when the enemy is completely under our control. In other words, I have predicted your prediction. Therefore, the art of war introduces the concept of to lead others without being led by them. It means manipulating the enemy without being manipulated by them, ensuring that the enemy is always at our mercy. If I want to fight you, you will obediently step forward for me to strike. If I don't want to fight, even if I draw a line on the ground, you won't dare to cross it and engage me. You may think this sounds miraculous, but how is it done? In my view, this is no longer something that can be learned. It is entirely based on innate talent. If both sides have studied the art of war, who will win? The art of war says, the one who can adapt to the enemy's changes and win is called divine. The side with stronger application skills will win. A classic historical example of applying these strategies is the story of Wei's siege of Zhao and Sun Bin's rescue of Zhao. Rescuing Zhao by surrounding Wei is a famous story from the Warring States period. The general outline is as follows. At the time, the state of Zhao was facing a strong military threat from the state of Wei, which had laid siege to Zhao's capital, Handan. Zhao was on the brink of collapse and urgently needed outside help. Zhao then sought assistance from the neighboring state of Qi. Qi sent the famous strategist Sun Bin to aid them. Instead of directly attacking the Wei army, Sun Bin adopted a brilliant strategy. He marched his forces directly toward Wei's capital, Daliang. When the Wei army learned that their own capital was under threat, they had to abandon the siege of Zhao and rushed back to protect their capital. The story of rescuing Zhao by surrounding Wei is rich with lessons and is an excellent example for understanding the essence of the art of war. If our side has maximized the probability of victory before the war and has not rushed into battle, we must next consider another question. What level of cost should we invest? Certainly, we want to win while minimizing our costs. Is minimizing costs enough? Can we further maximize our gains? For this, the art of war introduces the idea of achieving total victory. Total victory has two components. 1. Preserve yourself. 2. Preserve the enemy. Preserving yourself *. 1. Win without fighting. This means making the enemy surrender without fighting, thus achieving the goal of war without actual conflict. 2. The best strategy is to attack the enemy's plans, followed by attacking alliances, then attacking the army, and finally, attacking the city. This means the highest strategy is psychological warfare, making the enemy too fearful to fight. The next step is to turn the enemy's allies against them, then to get soldiers to surrender, and finally, to besiege cities if necessary. Preserving the enemy *. Instead of destroying the enemy's army and supplies, convert them into your own resources. For example, during the Chinese Civil War, the Communist Party referred to Chiang Kai-shek as the logistics commander, because his forces ended up providing supplies to the communist forces rather than destroying them. By preserving both yourself and the enemy, you can achieve maximum victory while minimizing your costs. The strategies we've discussed so far have focused largely on enhancing our own strength. But beyond maximizing our own capabilities, can we increase our power even more? The answer is yes. The art of war later introduces the concept of using the situation, which means leveraging all the forces of nature, the environment, and anything else available to enhance your own strength. Not only should you enhance your own situation, but you must also weaken the enemy's situation. This is a skill that cannot be easily learned through study, but is more dependent on natural talent and ability. However, I can provide 2 examples to illustrate. Increasing your own situation can be compared to the saying, "The fox borrows the tiger's power." Weaken the enemy situation can be compared to the example in Water Margin when Lu Zhishan first wore down the strength of the local tyrant Zhen Guanxi by forcing him to chop 20 pounds of meat before the confrontation, thus reducing his resistance. Now that we have maximized our strength both internally and externally, and consciously weakened the enemy's strength, should we immediately go to war? Wait a moment. We began by saying that war is a matter of national importance, related to life and death, with no turning back once the arrow is shot. We should think it over carefully before rushing into battle. Our previous efforts have largely focused on enhancing our own strength, but we may not have done enough to weaken the enemy. While we are stronger in the overall picture, are we also weakening the enemy locally? Since the outcome of war is so crucial, both sides will use every possible means to win. The art of war says, warfare is based on deception. All warfare is based on cunning, meaning that the goal is to mislead the enemy into making decisions that result in favorable conditions for us. To this end, the art of war mentions 12 types of deception. 1. Appear unable when you are capable, meaning you have the ability but pretend you don't. 2. Appear not to use your abilities when you do, meaning you want to use your abilities but pretend that you are not. 3. Appear far when you are near, meaning you are close but act as if you are far away. 4. Appear near when you are far, meaning you are far but act as if you are near. 5. Use benefits to lure the enemy, meaning you tempt the enemy with offers. 6. Create confusion and take advantage of it, meaning you create chaos among the enemy to make them vulnerable. 7. Prepare for the enemy's strengths, meaning if the enemy is strong, be prepared for their counterattacks. 8. Avoid direct conflict when the enemy is strong, meaning when the enemy is strong, try to avoid direct confrontation. 9. Disturb the enemy when they are angry, meaning when the enemy is enraged, stir the situation further. 10. Make them proud when they are humble, meaning when the enemy is humble, find ways to make them overconfident. 11. Wear down the enemy when they are at ease, meaning when the enemy is relaxed, find ways to exhaust their energy. 12. Divide the enemy when they are united, meaning when the enemy is united, try to sow division. Of course, there are countless ways to deceive the enemy, and these 12 are just some common tactics. Beyond these, it is essential to rely on talent and ability to adapt these strategies effectively.